Is the Royal Crown funding the Clinton crime syndicate? Friends, bear with me, this may get a bit lengthy, but I think it's very important. As many have been reporting, Klaus Eberwein, a former Haitian government official, was found dead this past Tuesday in a Miami area motel room. Miami-Dade medical examiner Veronica Lamar has ruled it a suicide from self-inflicted gunshot, but as many have been reporting, Eberwein acknowledged his life was in danger and was a fierce critic of the Clinton Foundation's activities in Haiti, where he served as Director General of the government's Economic Development Agency Fonds d'Assistance Économique et Sociale for 3 years. And according to Eberwein, only 0.6% of donations granted by international donors to the Clinton Foundation with the express purpose of directly assisting Haitians actually ended up in the hands of Haitian organizations. A further 9.6% ended up with the Haitian government, and the remaining nearly 90% or $5.4 billion was funneled to non-Haitian organizations. Eberwein said at a protest outside of the Clinton Foundation headquarters in Manhattan last year, quote, "The Clinton Foundation, they are criminals, they are thieves, they are liars, they are a disgrace," end quote. Now, stick with me, friends. We're about to embark on what Joseph P. Farrell likes to call some high-octane speculation. There has been a spike in deaths or murders over the past year of people related to investigations into Hillary Clinton, the DNC, and the Clinton Foundation. Recall Seth Rich and process server Sean Lucas being most notable, but a recent addition to the body count was Miami federal prosecutor Branton Weisnot. The 37-year-old father of 3 handled mostly immigration-related cases, and he was found dead this past May 24th, fully dressed in business attire on a beach in Hollywood, Florida, which just happens to be corrupt former DNC head Debbie Wasserman Schultz's district. Hollywood police and the Broward Medical Examiner would only reveal that Weisnot suffered some type of trauma to his head, but his family believes that he was murdered. Now, Elizabeth Lee Beck, co-managing partner of Beck and Lee trial lawyers in Miami, who are suing the DNC for rigging the 2016 presidential election, have been receiving threatening messages since the still unexplained death of Weisnot. Now, quoting from WorldNet Daily, Jared Beck and Elizabeth Lee Beck filed a class-action lawsuit against Wasserman Schultz and the Democratic National Committee last summer, charging that the DNC committed fraud in favoring Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders during the Democratic Party primaries. And since the body of federal prosecutor Weisnot was found on that Hollywood, Florida beach, Elizabeth Lee Beck and Jared Beck have been receiving frightening, threatening, ominous, anonymous phone calls. Elizabeth Beck posted this on Facebook, quote, "Our co-counsel, Colin O'Brien, is now getting anonymous callers talking about Cullen's family and how federal prosecutor Branton Weisnot washed up dead on Hollywood Beach, the same county as Cullen. We are sitting ducks." Now, the Becks have filed a request for federal protection, fearing for their safety, but the court denied the motion for protection, stating that the Federal Marshal's Service doesn't have resources to devote to that amount of protection needed for the law firm's plaintiffs, counsel, and families. Sitting ducks, indeed. Now, bear with me, guys. We are going to tie some of this funding for what I believe is wet works to the British Royals here in just a second, so bear with me. But there's been yet another sudden death of a Clinton investigator, this time in Rochester, Minnesota.
Fox News ran this, and that's where we got it from. GOP operative who sought Clinton emails committed suicide. Yes, the Republican Party operative who said he tried to obtain Hillary Clinton's emails from Russian hackers has evidently committed suicide days after speaking to the Wall Street Journal. Peter Smith, a GOP donor and a research opposition investigator, was found dead in his Rochester, Minnesota hotel room May 14th.
But you've laid out all of the amazing connections, and then you started laying out Bush connections. You started laying out other connections down there in Florida that I didn't even think about until today. When you started doing this research and turning up this dirt, were you as shocked as I am right now?
Yes.
So what do you think the deal is? Where do you think the connection here lies? Do you think, or do you think that this is just a coincidence that now not only Barrington Wisenhunt is no longer with us, but now also Peter Smith and Klaus Eberwein, who happen to be in the States?
I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on.
You're very emotional right now. I can honestly understand that. You know, the other day,
I'm just a lawyer here. I don't know what's going on.
I said on Twitter the other day when I heard about Peter Smith, I think that was Friday, immediately I started thinking about you and Jared because you guys are really sticking your neck out there. I mean, this is no joke.
Friends, the body count due to wet works continues to only grow as it relates to people who threaten to bring down the Clintons or the DNC. And you'll recall that my friend Max Slavo reported last year, call it conspiracy, coincidence, or just bad luck, but anytime someone is in a position to bring down Hillary Clinton by testifying, they wind up dead. That John O'Shea was a former president of the United Nations General Assembly highlights the fact that no one is safe once in the Clintons' sights. And as you guys may recall, there were major anomalies with the initial reports of O'Shea's death. It was not only conveniently timed, because O'Shea died just a few days before being set to testify against Clinton in a corruption case, but official reports indicated that he died of a heart attack. The problem, however, is that police on the scene reported O'Shea died when his throat was crushed during a workout accident. All right, so how does any of this relate to the Royals and the Clintons? Well, you may recall when Justin Trudeau was sworn in as the Prime Minister of Canada, he swore a very lengthy and detailed pledge of fealty to the Queen of England.
I, Justin P.J. Trudeau, do solemnly and sincerely swear that I shall be a true and faithful servant to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II as a member of Her Majesty's Privy Council for Canada. I shall keep secret all matters committed and revealed to me in this capacity, or that shall be secretly treated of in council. Generally, in all things, I shall do as a faithful and true servant ought to do for Her Majesty, so help me God.
Now, this was reported on July 12th, which, perhaps coincidentally, was the same exact day the death of Eberwein was reported in the Miami Herald. Now, the excuse for this $241.5 million donation to the corrupt Clinton Foundation is supposedly that it will support projects that will provide critical sexual and reproduction health services around the world. Clearly, that's a eugenics program, probably to fund abortions or sterilization programs or vaccine projects around the globe. The gravity in the import of a donation as large as this one, from Canada to the Clinton Foundation, when Trudeau has pledged his fealty, his loyalty, his undying service to the Queen of England, is very, very suspect. One might take the leap or engage in the high-octane speculation that this $241.5 million can be used for a variety of reasons, or to pay for a variety of treasons that may have already occurred or will occur in the future. $241.5 million to a criminally corrupt to the bone foundation like the Clinton Foundation, and to criminally corrupt people like Bill and Hillary Clinton, is certainly suspect. And it needs to be said that Trudeau could never take this unilateral step on his own without the approval of the Queen. So friends, you also may ask, why would the Queen of England care about the Clinton Foundation being brought down? You remember John Podesta's relationship to Hillary Clinton's campaign. He was the campaign manager. He used to be the White House chief of staff under Bill Clinton. And John Podesta was acknowledged by Andrew Breitbart before Breitbart's death as being a world-class child trafficking cover-upper. And of course, Clinton associate Laura Silsby was caught at the Haitian border trying to traffic 33 children out of Haiti. And when she was arrested, it was the Clintons and the Clinton Foundation that came to her defense. And as all of you know now, the history of the cover-up of child sex trafficking and satanic ritual abuse in the UK, under the Queen's watch, under the watch of Prince Charles and Prince Philip, has been going on for decades. The latest of which is this Jersey Care home inquiry that has laid bare the crimes again of decades of child abuse and child sexual abuse in England, and nothing is being done about it.
Now, the independent Jersey Care inquiry has published a 3-year report into allegations of abuse at the Haute de la Garenne Children's Home. And it found, the report, that children may still be at risk in Jersey's care system. Children may still be at risk in Jersey's care system. The report was looking into 7 decades of child abuse. The report said states The states of Jersey proved to be an ineffectual and neglectful substitute parent.
And that's just the latest case. Thanks to this 60 Minutes Australia expose, we now know that many of the depraved elites to whom Jimmy Savile was trafficking children, many of these depraved elites operated at the very highest echelons of Royal Crown power. Meet Sir Peter Telford Hayman, Deputy Head of the British Secret Service, MI6.
The paedophile who called himself Peter Henderson was in fact Sir Peter Telford Hayman, Deputy Head of the British Secret Service, MI6, one of the most powerful men in Britain. Hayman was caught with diaries full of sadistic sexual fantasies about children. But the spy chief was allowed to walk free.
One might ask, were they fantasies or his diaries of first-hand accounts of his atrocities against children? It is well established that these crimes against children, including pedophilia, rape, and satanic ritual abuse, has been going on in the UK and around the world not just for decades, but for centuries. And now the move to legalize these behaviors. As Tom DeLay warned us, 12 perversions, including bestiality and sex with children, are being sought to be made legal by powers within the U.S. State Department. The same type of powers are operating now openly in the UK.
You believe and advocate that it should be okay for an adult to have consenting sexual relations with a child aged 10, so long as it doesn't involve penetrative sex?
Well, the emphasis here is on consenting, the willing, free, uncoerced involvement of the child, yes.
And can I ask you this, though? Do you believe still that the majority of children at the age of 10 can communicate their consent to a sexual act?
Yes, I do, yes. So I don't see that is a problem, communicating their consent.
What constitutes consent?
The willing involvement of a child. It's really quite simple.
But how does one judge that?
That is a matter, as it is with adult consent, for the people involved.
Tom O'Carroll's self-serving views are a chilling insight into the mindset of the pedophiles who achieved positions of great power in British society.
And if you think that O'Carroll is a newcomer to the move to legalize pedophilia, adult sex with children, think again. This article from BBC.com, the same organization that employed Jimmy Savile and then covered up his child sex crimes for decades, published this article in February of 2014. How did pro-pedophile group Pi exist openly for 10 years? The article states, the Pedophile Information Exchange was affiliated to the National Council for Civil Liberties, now Liberty, in the late 1970s and early 80s. But how did pro-pedophile campaigners operate so openly? I'll answer that question. Because they were embraced by the Royal Crown. They were protected by Prince Charles and the Queen herself. Now, Pi was formed in 1974. It campaigned for children's sexuality. It wanted the government to eliminate or lower the age of consent. It offered support to adults in legal difficulties concerning sexual acts with consenting underage partners. The real aim was to normalize sex with children. Now, the pedophile you just saw in the 60 Minutes expose, Tom O'Carroll, was Pi's chairman in 1977. Now, friends, these types of groups and elite pedophiles, including the former head of the MI6, have been operating in the UK under the cover of the Royal Crown with the full protection of the Royal Crown and the Secret Services for decades. Given that fact, I think it's absolutely appropriate to use high-octane speculation, as Farrell likes to say, to ask the question, why did the Queen's Trudeau government of Canada announce that it was going to donate $241.5 million to what Charles Ortel has described as the most corrupt foundation on planet Earth, the Clinton Foundation? And I'll leave you with this. It may be a stretch to suggest that the money is being used for wet works or that the money is reimbursement for wet works already done. But at the very least, as we go through the list of what the money is said to be used for, it's clearly mandated for eugenics programs throughout the world. Thanks so much for tuning in, and for real news 24/7, visit us at sgtreport.com.
This is why they are going after Trump, Sessions, and people like Scalise. It has everything to do with pedogate. Once they start arresting some of the top people involved in sex trafficking, I mean, we're going to see at least half of our government fall.